Hi everyone. I wanted to start by thanking you for taking a moment to watch through my video and just let you know a little bit about my proposed policy and also the person I selected to present the policy to. So my policy, the way I'm phrasing it, is meant to protect the most vulnerable of Maryland's children through enhanced vaccination requirements. Uh, Essentially, what I'm looking to do is to eliminate the religious exemption to vaccination that we have here in the state of Maryland and proactively ban a conscientious objection to vaccination. So, that in mind, I decided to start to look at the members of the General Assembly and figure out who could best represent a bill like this. It was pretty easy to narrow it down to three people, because we have three nurses that are members of the General Assembly. We have two in the House and two in the Senate, one in the House. I selected one of the senators, Shirley Nathan Pulliam, as the person that I would like to give this theoretical presentation to. I chose Senator Nathan Pulliam for a variety of reasons. The first of which is that she is actually a member of the Senate Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs Committee, and also co-chair of the Health Subcommittee. So she's really uniquely positioned um, to present and hopefully sponsor a bill such as the one I'm proposing that pertains both to education and to health. Um, so I think that her involvement in those committees is really going to help the bill survive. Another reason I chose her is that she has a history of sponsoring bills that essentially place a burden on the school system in order to protect and enhance the health of the children of Maryland. For instance, she sponsored a bill that mandated community gardens within certain elementary schools so that children could learn and also be fed by said gardens. She sponsored a bill that enhance the sexual education requirements here in Maryland in an effort to curb teen pregnancy. And her current endeavor actually has to do with mandating that the Maryland Department of Health assess the effects that heavy backpacks are having on our children. So a bill like this that's going to um, put more burden on the Department of Health and the school system, but will keep Maryland's children safe is really up her wheelhouse. It's something she does really well. Um, she also just has a history of voting for bills that protect the most vulnerable members of our community. So I think phrasing this in the context of protecting medically fragile children is really the way to go with her. And lastly, I chose to select Senator Nathan Pulliam because I've actually had the opportunity to work with her in the past. I was approached by the Maryland Nurses Association to act as an expert witness for a bill that Senator Nathan Pulliam was sponsoring. Fortunately, they asked me to testify in favor of said bill, and it was actually a bill, again, similar to mine, that would impose regulations on the school system to protect children. What she was hoping to do was devise an educational module that would be mandatory for Maryland teachers so that they would know what to do with children who experience a sickle cell vaso-occlusive crisis. What we saw was that the Maryland school districts were pulling nurses from schools. So instead of one nurse per school, uh, one nurse ended up having to look over three schools. So these children who were having these vaso-occlusive crises often had to go for a decent period of time before the nurse could arrive and assess the situation. So Senator Nathan Pulliam's bill ensured that educators would be able to do a preliminary assessment and act quickly to make sure that children in vaso-occlusive crisis would get the help they needed um, in a timely manner. So for all those reasons, she's a nurse on the right committee with a great history, and I've worked with her before. So I'm really hoping that Senator Nathan Pulliam will be the one to pull this through. All right, so without further ado, here's my little spiel, the video presentation that I would intend to send to the senator. The pamphlet that or brochure that I reference is online on the site as well. And before you mock the colors, just know that here in Maryland, people really love the state flag, like really love the state flag. So I think I would get bonus points for that. All right, thank you so much. Senator Nathan Pulliam. Hello, my name is Justin Jensen, and I'd like to start by saying thank you for taking the time to view this video. I know you're incredibly busy, and I really appreciate you taking a moment for me. I also wanted to thank you for the commitment to children's health you've exhibited throughout your years as a member of the Maryland General Assembly, especially the standardized sickle cell treatment plan you sponsored last year that ultimately promoted a safer learning environment for hundreds of children in the Maryland public school system. As you may recall, I had the pleasure of testifying as an expert witness on behalf of the Maryland Nurses Association. I voiced support of your bill in front of the Senate Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs Committee. I was so pleased to see your policy become enacted as law. Now, I know that you have also made a commitment to ensuring that all of Maryland's children have the opportunity to access a quality public education. And I'm speaking to you today because I wanted to discuss the idea of introducing a policy that would blend your passion for public health and education to ensure more of Maryland's children are able to safely access a quality public education. Specifically, I would like to propose the idea of a policy that would enhance the vaccination requirements for children attending Maryland public schools. Now, as a nurse, I am sure you are aware of the incredibly important role vaccinations play in public safety. And I'm sure you're equally aware that there are many children that cannot receive vaccinations due to verified medical reasons. In fact, last year alone, in the state of Maryland, there were approximately 400 children entering kindergarten who were not able to be vaccinated due to medical reasons. As a nurse myself, working in the Johns Hopkins Hospital Pediatric Intensive Care Unit, I've seen the devastating effects of vaccine-preventable diseases such as pertussis. And I've met parents who have to pull their medically fragile children out of our public school system from fear of them becoming ill. Now that's partly because in the state of Maryland, there are twice the number of children who claim a religious exemption to vaccination than there are children with true medical exemptions to vaccinations. It's important to note that currently, to receive a religious exemption, no documentation other than a notarized statement claiming the exemption is necessary, which makes this type of exemption an easy target for abuse. And as the anti-vaccine movement in the United States grows, so do coalitions such as the Maryland Coalition for Vaccine Choice, whose primary objective, according to their website, is to create, support, and pass a bill allowing for a conscientious exemption to mandatory vaccination in the state of Maryland. As a nurse, I know you understand how devastating such a bill could be. Proposing a bill to eliminate religious exemptions to vaccinations, proactively ban a conscientious exemption to vaccination, and ensure that all medical exemptions are verified by the Maryland Department of Health will help to ensure that one parent's choice does not take away choice from the parent of a medically fragile child. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you with all the facts and figures this moment, but I have included a brochure that includes some additional information on the proposed policy. That said, I hope it's okay for me to call your office when you begin to hold regular hours in preparation for the upcoming General Assembly session. I would love to discuss this exciting proposition with you in depth, answer any questions you may have, and ultimately find a way to work together, perhaps in conjunction with the other nurses of the General Assembly, to make this vision a reality. Once again, thank you for your time, Senator.